Picture this. Extra time at the World Cup. Croatia have just equalized, the stadium is erupting, and then the referee walks to the monitor. Not to check a handball, not to verify a foul, to determine whether a ball grazed the top of a man's head by a centimeter, maybe less. Based on a sensor reading that nobody watching in real time could even see, a goal gets canceled, Croatia are out, Portugal are through, and the football world is split clean down the middle. That was the moment, and there is so much more underneath the surface of what looked like just another knockout thriller. Let's go back to before kickoff, because this game needed context even before the first whistle. The extra pressure arrived from a place nobody expected, Cristiano Ronaldo's own sister. Katia Aveiro went public before the match and declared that Cristiano would retire from international football immediately after this tournament. The kind of statement that lands like a grenade in a changing room when your captain is mentally preparing for the biggest game in months. Ronaldo himself said after the match that he hadn't decided anything, that he'd only deal with his future once the World Cup is done. Almost certainly true, but it also sounds exactly like what a captain says when he's shielding his squad from the weight of a farewell tour they're still in the middle of. Either way, every fan in that stadium knew they might be watching the final chapter of a legend. Think about what that does to the atmosphere. And then, 81st minute, Croatia lead by 1. Portugal are heading home. Roberto Martinez does what brave managers do. He takes Ronaldo off. His captain, his icon, down a goal, at the World Cup. That takes nerve. Ronaldo walks to the bench, watches, and then the penalty comes. He converts, 1-1, and pulls level with a record for World Cup knockout goals he had chased for years. If this is his last chapter, nobody can say he left anything unfinished. But here is where the story truly shifts. Martinez brings on Gonçalo Ramos. 94th minute, Ramos scores. Portugal in front. The stadium barely exhales before Croatia respond. Joško Gvardiol, 22 years old and one of the best center backs alive, pushes forward and levels it. 2-2. Extra time. Then comes the corner. Pasalic makes the run. The cross. The goal. Croatia celebrating a moment that would have sent them through. Then, VAR. The censor. The referee at the monitor. The ruling. Matanovic got a touch on the ball during the build-up. The lightest touch imaginable. Invisible in real time. The technology confirmed contact, and because it was judged unintentional, the offside line didn't reset. Goal canceled. Croatia eliminated. Portugal through. 1 centimeter, maybe less, between advancing and going home. This is the conversation that will not go away, because if you watch that clip live, you couldn't see the touch. Replays make it debatable at best. But here's what doesn't sit right. The referee originally went to the monitor to check a potential handball, then pivoted to the offside question, then made the ruling that sent Croatia home. The whole sequence felt like a decision being assembled piece by piece until the outcome matched what the technology technically permitted, even if it didn't match what the game deserved. Some fans have gone straight to the darkest interpretation, drawing comparisons to 2022, when Argentina seemed to receive the benefit of every tight call on their path to the trophy, and now whispering the same about Portugal, about Ronaldo's last dance, about what FIFA might privately prefer when their most iconic figures are involved. I'm not saying anything is being arranged, but that conversation exists, and after a moment like this, nothing shuts it down. There's also a poetic irony. Ronaldo once had a World Cup goal disallowed for almost exactly this kind of ghost touch ruling. He was furious. Yesterday, the same logic worked in his favor. Football never forgets. If you love this kind of deep breakdown, subscribe, because this tournament is far from done delivering. While all that was burning, Spain made the tournament look effortless. 3-0 against Austria, controlled, dominant, clinical. FIFA then awarded Lamine Yamal the man of the match, despite 2 Austrian players being assigned specifically to stop him and managing it reasonably well. Yamal still matters in ways that don't show clearly on the score sheet. He drags defenders, creates space, and liberates teammates. Pedro was magnificent, precisely because of what Yamal's presence forced Austria to do. But the award was for the name, not the performance. Jude Bellingham's collection of tournament prizes in matches he didn't dominate already demonstrated this FIFA tradition. Popular choice over correct choice every time, and it cheapens the award with every repetition. Marc Cucurella was arguably the most complete performer on that pitch. Overlapping runs, attacking intelligence, defensive solidity from the left. Everything Atletico Madrid pursued him for is on full display here. And his dynamic with Yamal is already developing its own subplot. Yamal told Cucurella publicly that he'll start the first Clásico and warm the bench for the second because Yamal will eat him alive. Worth remembering, last November it was Cucurella who had the better of that head-to-head at club level. That rivalry over the coming seasons is going to be worth following closely. Off the pitch, the transfer market is moving faster than the tournament itself. Vinicius Jr. is leaving Real Madrid. Not a rumor anymore, journalist Ramon Alvarez has confirmed it directly. The gap between what Vinicius demands and what Madrid will pay has been unbridgeable for over a year. Madrid are now reportedly willing to pay him a bonus tied to a 2027 contract extension, effectively paying him to leave now rather than drag this to free agency. Manchester United have a €120 million bid in preparation. Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester City, and Bayern Munich are all monitoring the situation. The question for every European club is simple: spend enormous money now, or wait 12 months and get him for nothing. United would be making the biggest gamble of their recent history, and convincing Vinicius that Old Trafford is worth his peak years will take some very persuasive salesmanship. Germany, meanwhile, are quietly ending the Nagelsmann era. Reports from Bild indicate a 3-hour meeting in Frankfurt at which Nagelsmann was strongly advised to resign voluntarily because a forced dismissal triggers a €7 million compensation clause the federation needs elsewhere, ahead of what everyone expects will be Jurgen Klopp negotiations. The frustration inside the squad went beyond tactics. Inconsistent travel arrangements for families bred resentment. The training base was described by players as suffocatingly dull, and Nagelsmann was criticized for not communicating openly enough with his group. When a manager loses the dressing room over atmosphere as well as results, the conversation about tactics is already finished. And so, here we are. A World Cup that has already produced one of the most disputed refereeing decisions in recent memory, a €120 million transfer about to reshape European football, a German coaching era closing quietly, and Cristiano Ronaldo, who may have just taken his last penalty for Portugal in the 81st minute of a game that very nearly went the other way. 1 penalty, 1 censor, 1 centimeter. Was that goal against Croatia legitimate? Technology said one thing. The spirit of the game said something else entirely. And that gap, between what machines confirm and what our instincts tell us, is becoming the central argument of modern football. Do you trust the censor? Or did Croatia get robbed? Drop your answer in the comments. If you're still watching, you already know you're in the right place. Subscribe, don't miss what comes next, and I'll see you for the next chapter of a tournament that has absolutely no intention of calming down.